What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Today we're going to do some fun stuff. Today we are going to set up a Telecaster. This has been on my list. I bought this guitar, I don't know, maybe a little over a year ago or so. And as usual, I kind of just play them at factory specs for a while. And this one kind of just, because I got some other new guitars, just didn't get played that much after that. And so I thought, you know, we've been doing kind of running through a bunch of guitar setup stuff, Strats and all kind of other guitars, and I thought let's do a setup on this Telecaster. It's got factory kind of Fender spec on it right now, so we'll check that over and see what that is. I went and got the Fender factory specs over here so we can refer to those, but I want to set it up how I want it. So we're going to go through that today, and I'm going to show you a couple of little tricks and address a couple of little things, and we will do what we can to set this guitar up. So this is one of those American Vintage 2 Tellies, so it's got the old 3 steel saddles there, which I actually really like. It's got the pickup that doesn't have the screws, you know, because it's the early one, or you know, early-ish one anyway. Clay dots, you know, it's just I just wanted a good, proper Telecaster, so that's what this is. Safety posts, etc. Now it's got a good set of strings on it. That's where we need to start. We also need to start with standard tuning, or whatever tuning you're going to use on your guitar. So if you're going to use it a half step down, a full step down, make sure that you have that on your guitar already and the strings that you're going to use. And then we will start taking some baseline measurements, documenting those, and then we will get to setting this dude up. All right, first things first, we're going to check our neck relief, and on a 7 1/4 radius, Fender says 12 thousandths of an inch, which is a lot. I don't like that much, so we're going to see what it is. Although I might leave it because I can't stand taking this neck off. Because basically what you have to do is put a capo around the first fret. You have to loosen all the strings and then take the neck off the guitar and straighten out the dude. So we may not do that. We'll see. Let me just go ahead and throw a 10 underneath here and see how it is. So the way we're doing this is we're going to fret the first fret by using a capo. We're going to fret the last fret where it meets the body, and we'll go about halfway in between. And okay, this is actually tighter than 10 thousandths, which it should be 12 by factory spec, but I'm gonna leave it because I want tighter. And personally, and I know for teaching on YouTube, you should use a feeler gauge and you should be as exacting as possible. But I just kind of go like this, and I get the feel that I want. Most of the time, I'll set a guitar totally flat, but on a Telly, I'll give myself a little bit of room, because these guitars are a little sloppy and a little rudimentary in their engineering, so I usually leave a little bit. So this thing looks like it's got about 8 thousandths of neck relief, or 8 to 10. Factory spec is 12, but I don't want to go that high. So we're just going to leave it. I think it's good. Let's move on to nut height. All right, for this we're going to use our handy dandy nut height gauge. And let's see, turn this dude on. 0M, whoa, 26, 29, all right, we're gonna do some work. 30, yeah, I want these to be around 20. 16, so the G string's fine. 27, 45, what the heck? Let's flip that around and double check that junk again. Whoa, all right, well, I guess we're gonna do some work. So we've got our StewMac fret nut files here, and we're gonna go ahead and work through this. Basically what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna time lapse this because this is gonna take some time, but basically what we're gonna do is what we want to do is we want to match whatever the string angle is as it comes over the fret or over the nut, like so. And of course that changes a little as it goes down, and then it changes again once it gets to these strings. and we're just going to bring this down. I think I'm going to come down to 20 thousandths. That's where I'm going to come on this guitar. So match this, and be very careful that you don't sand into the end of the fretboard, and we'll bring this down to 20. But I'm going to go ahead and time lapse this part because this is going to take a few minutes. All right, so our nut height is 20 thousandths all the way across now. Now I want to go ahead and check string height. Now, Fender spec, just move you over here a little bit. Fender spec says 2 millimeters, or let's see what the standard measurement is, 5/64 at the 17th fret for a 7 1/4 radius. Now what it does say, and you'll look at the Fender, I'll put all the specs on the screen here. These specs, they are dependent on the fretboard radius. So you'll see the neck radius here also affects the relief that we talked about earlier, and it also affects their spec for string height. So this says 2 millimeters or 5/64 at the 17th fret, which is 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 right here, which is what we have right now. I checked it earlier, which gives us, it ends up being, here, hang on, let's see, I think 85. So I go in thousandths of an inch, just FYI, everyone. Those of you who are screaming about metric, you can convert it. It's 64, let's see, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, okay, 17. So that gives us 76 thousandths here, which gives us 69 thousandths. So it's about 6 thousandths difference. I always measure at the 12th fret. So that's what we're gonna do today. And I'm gonna bring all of this down to 60 thousandths. That's gonna be my measurement. So you can do what you want, but I'm gonna do 60 thousandths. So the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna put this here, and then we're going to get our StewMac little tool kit here, and we're gonna pick the bit we want, and we're gonna come over here to the saddles. Okay, so basically what we're gonna do here is we're just going to take our string height, and we're going to put it here, and we're going to zero it, and we are going to, we've got 70 thousandths basically, so we'll come over here. Of course, this is an old style guitar, so it has flathead screws, which are a pain in the butt. But I can watch this and just go down 10 thousandths. Alright, I'm going to give it a tweak back up. Now, here's the thing. When we have a 3-saddle bridge like this, they interact with each other a little bit, because as you bring this one down, this one will also come down just a little bit, just because of geometry. So, you know, you might have to fiddle with it back and forth a couple of times to get it. It doesn't move a lot, but just FYI, it does a little bit. 64. A little too far. All right, perfect. We'll come on to this one. So our string height there is now set. I guess it's time for intonation, which is always an exciting one on a Telecaster with 3 saddles. But yeah, let's talk about it. All right, so we're going to show this as best we can. Let me get this thing tuned up. So now that we've got the guitar tuned up, what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna play an open note, then I'm gonna fret the 12th fret, and we're gonna see where we are. We're going to do 2 strings at a time because 2 strings move on each saddle. So we'll do the B too. Alright, so I think since the tuner's going that way, then the saddle needs to go that way if I'm facing the guitar. So I've got this big old snap-on screwdriver that I use for this, because it gives me enough leverage to do this. So we're just going to tighten this just a little bit, and it's going to move both of them. So we'll have to retune both strings. Damn, that's good. I'm going to go a little more. I'm going to go back the other way a little bit. I kind of liked it before. So this is a little bit of a splitting hairs game here. I'm going to go with that because they do drift just a little bit, but they're drifting the same rate both directions. So I think we're going to be good with that. Let's go on to our B, our G, and our D. I want to be good with that. Go to our A. A little buzz there. I'll have to figure that out here in a minute. All right, yeah, this one, I knew this one was going to be off. I could tell by looking at it. Still a little more. That's probably going to be too much. Ooh. Oh yeah, we're good there. Heck yeah, man. All right, and then the last thing would just be to set pickup height, which really is kind of to taste. What I do is I just fret this last fret and I just make sure that the pickup clears the string there and has enough room, because when you let go of it, then you've got, you know, 3 or 4 millimeters, depending on your setup that you want, of space there. And then I just adjust both of them to balance out, really. I don't have any kind of science to it at this point. I think this neck pickup's gonna have to come down just a little bit because all the action on the guitar came down a little bit. Now, there's a couple things with 3 saddle Telecasters that I would talk about here. A lot of folks say that you cannot intonate a 3 saddle bridge. You saw there that we can get it pretty dang close. It depends on the string gauge and it depends on the rest of the setup. When you play a guitar, you push down on the strings, obviously. And every time you do that, you pull the string away from its natural pitch, right? So when you pluck the A string, when you press down on it, the tone that you're getting at any of these frets is not exactly perfect because you're pulling down on the string, right? So it's all like geometry. You've created these angles and different tensions depending on where you are on the fretboard, right? So you've got a steep angle here and a low angle here. You've got a lower angle here and a steeper angle here, depending, right? So that's part of the thing that changes when you play the guitar. And so your intonation's never really perfect anyway, but to get it that close is pretty dang good. If you have bigger strings, if you play with bigger strings, it may be more difficult because the delta between compensating for the string gauge, which is what intonation is. You set your intonation at 25.5 inches, your scale length at 25.5 inches on the high E, and then these rest of these adjustments are compensating, that's why they call it compensated, for the difference in the string gauge. So if you play with 10s, you're going to be okay, pretty close. If you play with 11s or 12s, or you play with a bigger E string, or you play with a wound G or something like that, the delta between the measurements of strings is going to make it harder to get a 3-saddle bridge intonated. The more conventional your string choices and your setup is, the easier it will be to intonate a 3-saddle bridge. The higher your action is, the harder it will be, because the more you will be pulling those angles all away from everything. So if you can keep it relatively stock like this, and honestly kind of the lower the better, then you'll be able to get it closer to perfect with a 3-saddle bridge. The other thing that you can do, and I am going to do it on this guitar, so this video is going to spawn another video. When I get the action as low as I want it on one of these, I get these screws that are sticking way above the saddles here. And the other thing is that to keep the fretboard as flat as possible, I just don't quite like the angles here. So a lot of folks, and it actually says it in the Fender manual, a lot of folks like either a micro tilt, which this guitar does not have, or to put a shim in it. And in fact, many guitars from Fender have a shim in them. So we may do another video about how to shim a Fender neck, because I really think this guitar could benefit from it, because I don't think it's got one in there, this particular one. So we might do a video on that. Let me know if that's something that you want to do. It's not going to kill the tone, bro. It's going to actually make the guitar play a lot nicer. So that's something that we might do. But that angle obviously can change. Anyway, keep everything kind of middle of the road as possible, and you'll get better intonation on a 3-saddle bridge. You could try compensated saddles if you want. And if you're one of those people who says it's totally impossible and you want a 6-saddle bridge, then you should go get one. Personally, this setup right here is awesome. I'm not going to change the saddles. I'm not going to do anything. I love this guitar the way it is. But it does play a lot better. That nut was really high. I had 40 thousandths on the high E string from the factory. I never even really looked at it that much. So, well, there you go. Now we've got a setup on this thing that works. And I think I'm going to be playing it some more. Let me know if you want to see that shimming video. We will do it. There is a link in the description for the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. If you're watching this before there are 100,000 subscribers on the channel, we're getting pretty close. We're going to give some stuff away, pickups and some various things like that. So go enter that down below. And yeah, pretty stoked about that. This guitar plays good. Hit the subscribe button and the like button. Let me know what you want to see. We'll see you in the next video.